So today we're going to be talking about stable coins. What are stable coins? How are they connected to the current system and the emerging system? Um, their advantages, disadvantages. There, there's there's quite a bit to stable coins and their role that they're playing. So really, what stable coins are is they are a digital dollar. Uh, they're actually tokenized dollars. And so when we say tokenized, we mean something that's every day that we're used to is being turned into you could say a crypto token. So in this case, fiat currency has been tokenized, put on the blockchain, and turned into a purely digital dollar. So whereas we have a you could say that pretty much our system's fully digitized now. Um, it is a digital system, but this is not all. Our fiat money is not digital. Uh, crypto is obviously the emerging digital money, but our fiat is either it is sent via digital means, but it's not inherently. It hasn't actually been put on a blockchain. It's not intrinsically digital. And so this is the next iteration, this is the next evolvement of our system where the actual assets themselves, or in this case, currencies, are actually being turned into a digital instrument. And when that happens and they're put on the blockchain, then they can be moved, they become instantly portable, and that brings a lot of advantages, and obviously there's disadvantages as well. So yeah, so basically, as I've just kind of been saying, they're basically tokenized fiat currencies. Um, yeah, so all stable coins are somewhere on a blockchain. They are connected to a blockchain. Uh, and most of them, you say they are centralized. They are a centralized blockchain. You could have digital dollars. The main stable coin is the US dollar now. Um, or you can have a euro stable coin. You could have a yen stable coin. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to be exploring the New Zealand stable coin. So essentially, um, they're essentially backed by the government and the central banks because they are backed by fiat currency. So for every digital, supposedly for every digital currency, every digital stable coin that is out there, there should be an actual fiat money held in the central bank uh, normally by bonds. Bonds are how they create money into, that's how they print money, is basically loaning money out via a bond. Or in the case of the US treasuries as well. So some bonds are issued by the central bank, some are issued by the government. And you can have corporate bonds, and there's other types of bonds, but these are mainly the government bonds or the central bank bonds. It is stable coins are very useful because they're an easy entry into the digital world and crypto. It's easy to buy and sell a crypto with a stable coin. It's a simple swap feature. Because they're on the same they have the same similar properties. They're purely digital and they're on a blockchain. So when in traders, it's very useful for traders, people who are day trading and they're trading and they're trading on the crypto market, just like they trade on the stock market. When they take profit, they'll take it into a stable coin. And then from a stable coin, if you chose, you could then you can effectively send it out to your bank account. So that's another step. A lot of people keep their profit in the stable coin because they're trying to remove themselves from the fiat system. And a lot of people more and more people now are operating exclusively in the crypto system now. As more and more people are accepting crypto as payment, and certainly in the online world, crypto is becoming more and more acceptable. And even for offline, it is starting to happen. But obviously, we need regulations for that to really accelerate. 2025 is when regulations will come in for the crypto side. But yeah, the stable coins are a very important link between the old world and the new. And we're in a transition now. And so stable coins are part of that transition. They actually were created many years ago, many years ago, but they've become really popular probably in the last 4 years or so. I believe, it's my opinion, but I believe they are a precursor to the CBDC. We hear a lot of talk about central bank digital currency. I think they're piloting them. There's a few very small countries that are using the CBDC now. Palau is one of them. Bhutan has one, and it's Madagascar or Montenegro, something like that. There's another country out in I think it's in the Indian Ocean somewhere. They're using the CBDC, but because they're so unpalatable for many people in the West, I actually think they'll put it on the back burner and they'll use a version of this stable coin instead, or a digital bank dollar or bank euro or whatever. So yeah, that's something that could be very interesting. So say the ANZ, which I know the ANZ have already developed it actually, and lots of banks around the world, JP Morgan in America are developing theirs. Tons of banks are developing their own, effectively their own currency issued from the bank, and they will be valued in the country of that bank. Some people say, well, how stable are they if they're based upon fiat money? Yeah, and I could say that's a very good question. As we are in a transition, the fiat currencies are losing value all the time. Every day they're losing value. As they print more money, they're losing value. They're being debased. Inflation is just the result of debasement and overprinting. So I think there'll come a point where they'll have to revalue. The US dollar will no longer be the benchmark, or they will revalue the US dollar to a new peg, basically, or backing based on the value of gold. So they might say that one US, they're basically going to revalue the currency, like they kind of they've done it many times before throughout history. So this is just another reset. So the reset will be fundamental at the actual, the value of one US dollar now could be quite different. Next year, the dollar may well be refloated to a higher value potentially. So in the meantime, we just got to go do what we've got and hope that sanity prevails. So banks are beginning to adopt stable coins, like I'm saying, that they're happening around the world, and not only will they be adopting them, but as I say, they'll be even creating their own effectively. So most stable coins are centralized, but there are decentralized versions in the works, and there are lots being touted. There have been a few decentralized versions in the past, and they basically failed. So it's very difficult to bring something out that flies in the face of the current system. They're not going to like a decentralized digital fiat because it really directly competes with their existing dollar. But yeah, I think eventually, as time goes on, we're going to see more and more movement in that area. As I've already said, banks are piloting their own version of stablecoin. I believe regulations will come for stablecoins first. They will treat stablecoins as its own category, and I think stablecoins will be the first to see regulation, and then crypto in general and how they're going to regulate decentralized finance and all that, that'll come later, and I believe in 2025. But I reckon this year, maybe mid to later this year, we will see stablecoin regulation, spearheaded by America. We know it's on the fast track now because basically Janet Yellen, who's in charge of the US Treasury, she's now spoken out and said we need regulation. So that means that it's hurting them. Basically, they're ready for it now because they see the writing on the wall. There'll always be a double-edged sword when it comes to these monetary changes and crypto stable coins. There's going to be centralized versions. There's going to be attempted or actual decentralized versions, and somewhere in between. And so whenever people scream about, the CBDC, that's just one end of digital a digital economy and the blockchain. There's always going to be another end. There's always going to be a centralized and decentralized. There'll always be one that comes with a lot of control, and then there'll be others that are less controlled and more people-based. So this is a bit of the battle, really, that's going. This is the central battle ground around centralization is happening today, I believe. Stable coins could actually keep the fiat system going for longer, and it's certainly happening with the US dollar. That's why they've allowed USDT, which is also known as Tether. The Tether USDT is, they bought up, they're basically valued at $100 billion. In other words, they've got $100 billion of USDT in circulation now. We've got 100 billion tokens out in circulation, each valued at $1. And they mint them off the blockchain. And so essentially it's just another version of money printing that's done in a pure digital way on a blockchain, which again, if that's left to centralize people, or to if that's uncontrolled, if it's just mint them whenever they want, then that's obviously going to create more problems. So yeah, we have to see what happens there. I do think that stable coins are an obvious threat to cash and the phasing out of cash. I think it's another step in the direction of a cashless society. Unfortunately, that's just the way it's all going. So it's really another nail in the coffin for cash. But cash will be around for a while yet. It's a lot of it is in circulation, particularly since COVID. A lot of people went to the bank during COVID times and withdrew the cash, large amounts of cash, and stashed it. And it will take quite a few years, I think, for that to work its way out. Unless the government come out and ban cash and make it, they decide that it's no longer legal tender, which I don't think they would do. I don't think they would do that. There'll be an uproar based then. So I think they're just trying to phase it out by they're edging cash out as they edge in more digital, more of a digital economy. So in the digital, if a fully digital economy is coming, my strategy or my view is that we have to aim for the decentralized crypto, or we can buy the up and coming crypto to protect ourselves. Because if the system is moving onto the blockchain and everything's becoming fully digital, we can participate in that by buying the cryptos that they are wanting to use in the new world. When they get regulated, they will become fully implemented and applied into the real world. Then obviously they're going to be a good investment. So there's that, and then there's the more decentralized crypto, which are coming in pretty much hot on their heels as well. So there's going to be lots of different nuances to the whole space, and this is why we need to keep our eyes on what's happening. The advantages of a stablecoin, there's some good advantages. It's purely peer-to-peer. We can send our stablecoin from one wallet to another without any intermediary, no middlemen. It's just like crypto is today. It's basically peer-to-peer. It's very easy to pay anyone anywhere, assuming that they have a crypto wallet, that is. You just need one stable coin. So say USDT or USDC, they can be accepted just about in any country in the world. So you don't have to have a special one for the country you're sending it to. If you're sending money to overseas, you only need one stable coin for multiple countries, and solves the problem of having multiple currencies. So they're quite good in that respect. It's universally accepted. There's no KYC involved for stable coins at the moment. I'm sure eventually they will use the stable coins for KYC to get in. They will use that as an entry point, and they'll use it as an exit point as well. And you do have to do KYC if you are exiting to your bank account by stablecoin. That's one thing to know. And if you're coming in through a centralized exchange, then you're effectively doing your KYC there as well. So you effectively are being KYC there, but not specifically for the token itself. So it's great for onboarding and offboarding back to fiat or back to another crypto. You can hold it in your own decentralized wallet. So you can basically hold the stable coin in your own self-custody, which is really what decentralization is all about, is self-custody, and with that comes self-responsibility. So we're not using counterparties. We're not putting our money in a third party with a third party bank, or in with another party. We're holding and controlling and managing our own money in our own way. And usually the stable coins are based on US dollars. But as I say, we're going to start seeing a whole plethora of them come out soon for each country, I'm pretty sure. When it comes to stable coins, there's different types, the way they're created, the way that they're applied. You have algorithmic stable coins. There's one called USDD that's put out by the Tron Foundation, the Tron token, TRX. It means that it's programmed to the supply and demand to maintain its peg to the dollar. So it's all done purely by algorithm. So as the supply goes up, then it's automatically keeps its peg. And if there is a huge demand, if there's a huge drain on it, then it readjusts itself so that normally if there's a huge demand on anything, say a stock or crypto, then the price is going to drop. And if there's so basically in this case, the algorithm is preventing that from happening. It's constantly monitoring itself or self-correcting itself to keep it at the US dollar peg. But there's problems with that. Pure algorithmic stable coins, the Luna stable coin went down, and that was because it was probably attacked, and they basically broke the peg because they just sold huge amount all at once, and then everyone sold and it lost its peg. So it's easily open to attack. It's one of the big problems with that. Then you have the fiat-backed collateralized stable coins, which are the most common. And in some cases, you can have them where they're over-collateralized. In other words, they have got more backing than what you're actually minted. So an over-collateralized one it's called MakerDAO. It is a decentralized stable coin they've created called DAI, D-A-I. And the way that they bring it into existence is that you can loan, a lot of people loan their DAI. They loan it, they borrow say they borrow $100 of DAI. They have to put up collateral of $150 in another crypto. So that keeps it always over collateralized. So in other words, the MakerDAO organization are always holding more in crypto than what they've loaned out. So if there was a run on it, they're not going to get exposed. That's the idea behind it. But it's still basically based on, I mean, in the case of MakerDAO, it's actually based on crypto, not fiat. But a lot of them are based on fiat. USDC and USDT are the main ones there. And USDT maintain that they are slightly over collateralized. I think he said there's about 105% of their total supply is held in treasuries and bonds and US dollars. But most of them are 1-to-1. Most of them are holding, in other words, they're holding $1 of cash or a bond to $1 in circulation. Then you've got the more decentralized and or crypto-backed ones. There's Aave. Aave is one. It's completely decentralized, like MakerDAO. And then DAI is also, the same. That's the token for MakerDAO. And there's another one called Curve, which is decentralized. And again, they're loaning them into existence. And then you've got fractional ones, or basically they're 50-50. They are partially fiat backed and are partially algorithmic based. So obviously the algorithmic version has advantages, and they don't need to hold huge amounts of currencies. They can do it by the blockchain and by the code. But as we kind of know now that there's a risk there as well that's probably higher than even holding fiat. And then you can have gold or commodity backed stable coins. And there's one called PAX-G. The G stands for gold. They are and quite popular. And I actually think the gold-backed stable coins will lead to tokenization of gold. And we'll be able to literally buy and sell gold around the world instantly by using a crypto token that will be fully backed by gold. So a gold-backed stablecoin could become a ownership of gold using the blockchain as your proof of ownership, and they have to hold the physical gold somewhere in a vault with proof of actual supply, proof of that they're holding it. And this is okay, this can be done, and I think you're going to see that happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if there will be digital currencies coming out in the future that are fully backed one-to-one to gold. And that's where the revaluation can come in. The US dollar, who knows, might end up being rebacked by gold once again. So they took it off the gold standard in 1971, and that was when we started going downhill. We've been going downhill ever since. They revived it slightly with the petrodollar, but now that with geopolitical tensions, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, and obviously Russia pulling away from the centralized system, that's putting a lot of pressure on the US dollar. And so this is why we've got war drums beating. That's another whole story. But this is where we're moving away from the American hegemony, and we're moving away from a sole reserve currency in the US dollar. Decentralized stablecoins are still evolving, like the whole crypto market is. So this isn't an instant panacea or utopia when we're getting into crypto. We've kind of got to roll with it. We've got to get in our foot in the door, and we've got to learn as much as we can because there's so many threats, but it's the future. So what we're doing by getting in early is we're trying to get ahead of the curve, and potentially by holding some of these cryptos, they could be very valuable in the not too distant future. When they get adopted into the mainstream and when they get used with real world assets, that's when the speculation of crypto will go, and then you're truly investing in something that is actually becoming commonplace. So that's why the cryptos are so volatile now, because speculation is going wild. And the speculation is causing it's all the pumping and dumping and buying huge amounts and then selling in huge amounts. The ETF is added to that as well. But this is how it is in the financial system in general. I mean, the stock market has always been up and down. But once crypto gets regulated and adopted, then a lot of the volatilities is going to come out of the market, and then it's going to be a steady incline. Well, assuming that the tokens is getting more and more used and it is solid, it will generally, the blue chip tokens that really nail it, they will just continue to climb in price at a relatively steady pace. And a lot of the tokens are going to go. A lot of them will be just history. They will not stand the heat of the regulation. They will be basically dropped like a hot potato. Once the speculation is over, then the market will come into a much more balance, and it will be a much smaller quantity of tokens. Like, I reckon 95% of the tokens will go. So that will be quite dramatic, and that will precipitate probably a huge drop in the market before then a real meteoric rise at some stage later as the world wakes up that the cryptos that are remaining are actually part of a whole new system. So we've got to negotiate that transition, which is going to be quite intense. Now I want to go into the New Zealand stablecoin now. So here's the website. So this is already out. It's actually been created by the company called Easy Crypto. Easy Crypto are the exchange for New Zealand, or one of the exchanges. And this couple, Janine Granger, her name is, and her husband, I forget his name. So this now it's obviously a fiat backed. It's backed 1-to-1 to New Zealand dollars, but it's available globally. Everything is available global when it's on the blockchain and when it's crypto. And as they say here, NZDD is your gateway to the future of finance, harnessing the benefits of blockchain technology combined with the trust and stability of the New Zealand dollar. I'd say that trust and stability is waning a lot. However, it's what we've got at the moment. So they go on to say, this is the benefits. This is in their words, this is the benefits for individuals. You can spend on merchants. NZDD maintains a 1-to-1 value with traditional New Zealand dollar, which means you can use it to pay bills and shop where NZDD is accepted. And that is growing. That is actually growing. It's still growing from a low base. But there are merchants. Now, I know a lot of merchants who have started to adopt it because people go in there and say, if you accept this digital money, then I will spend with you. If you don't, I'll go elsewhere, find someone who does. So this is what people are saying now. They're starting to insist on it. 20% of people in New Zealand own crypto. That's quite a high percentage based on the world average, which is 7%. So that's one of the advantages anyway. You can get paid in NZDD. Anyone can accept it. You can simply get the token into your wallet. You get a receiving address, and if people want to pay you, then they can pay you. So you just have to get the right wallet with your actual address for that token, and then you can accept it just like any crypto. They say here, using a payment network that never sleeps. Your employer could pay you New Zealand dollars using NZDD at any time, anywhere, even if you live overseas. NZDD works almost like hard cash, which means it is independent of conventional bank transfer networks. Send money internationally. So it's super easy to send any crypto internationally. And I think that's a big advantage for migrants living outside of their home country or working, seasonal workers, all this sort of thing. They love crypto. And Filipinos, Indonesians, Thais, they love crypto because a lot of them are international, working overseas, or they're adopting it just in their home country because they're basically their economy is very restrictive on people on the lower end, and they're looking at a way of trying to participate in the global economy and make some money by trading on crypto and all that. But just using the convenience of sending stable coins to each other is obviously very attractive. And you're missing out the middleman. it's still peer to peer, which means no bank is clipping the ticket when we send money around the world. And invest in crypto. NZDD uses the same technology behind cryptocurrencies. This means for crypto investors, buying and selling crypto with the dollar has never been so seamless. Skip the banking delays and buy or sell crypto exactly when you want to. So what do they say here? Why NZDD? NZDD is a safe and trusted cryptocurrency for Kiwis to get involved in the digital finance revolution. Whether you want to trade between cryptos or store your funds for the longer term, NZDD is a safe choice backed one-to-one by the New Zealand dollar and held on New Zealand shores. Transparent and secure, stability you can trust, available when you need it, speedy, it's definitely speedy, passive income. You can even earn a return on your stable coins, and this is a good point. You can certainly do that with USDT, USDC. All cryptos in theory can be staked to earn an income. So you're actually adding it, in this case, you're adding it to a liquidity pool, and you can actually trade NZDD on Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange. So you can add, if you want to add your NZDD to that liquidity pool, that's what enables the transfers, the swapping to take place, because you can't swap one token for another without there being liquidity behind it to enable it to move. So you earn passive rewards for doing that. And I think staking in general will be huge going forward. Future scalability. NZDD is designed with scalability and the future in mind to meet the evolving needs of the industry. In other words, this is a precursor to a fully digitized world. And yeah, that's what they're doing. Excuse me, I just got to go to the got to go to the loo. The loo is calling out. We'll be back in just a second. Thanks for that. Sorry about that. Right. So then they go on here, FAQs. We already know that. What can it be used for? Well, basically, we've kind of really covered that. Local or international business, you can hold it in your wallet to buy crypto or take profit to crypto. How to buy, sell, and transfer. NZDD is a stable coin on Ethereum, so that's important. It's on the Ethereum blockchain, and they've just added it to Polygon as well. It's now on the Polygon network. Means you can buy and sell NZDD at Easy Crypto or with other partner exchanges and store them in all major wallets, including the Easy Crypto wallet and others such as MetaMask, Rabby wallet, and more. You can also transfer NZDD to a wallet address and use smart contracts the same way you could transact with any other stablecoins. Is NZD available on decentralized exchanges? You can swap NZDD with hundreds of other tokens on Uniswap, which is good, and other Ethereum compatible decentralized exchanges, including Easy Crypto, when a liquidity pool was available. So they got to have the liquidity pool, otherwise nothing can happen. So this is like, these liquidity pools are going to become hugely important going forward. Same with XRP. It's going to have a global liquidity pool. And by submitting it, instead of putting our money holding it in a term deposit, we put our money into a liquidity pool and then we earn a return instead of the bank earning a return. So this is a huge advantage to us, and it's all very new. At launch, we highly recommend using Easy Crypto because they're promoting their own platform. And soon Uniswap, as NZDD will have a deeper liquidity on the Uniswap platform, ensuring a pleasant swap experience. You can subscribe to their newsletter. I'm actually going to know more about NZDD and the stablecoin because I'm going on a Zoom. I think it's next month. I'm booked to be on a Zoom call with the founders of Easy Crypto, and I want to know more about it and how it works. Obviously, in my position, it's advantageous for me to know that. And also, they are working closely with the Web3 NZ. There's a platform in New Zealand called Web3 NZ with developers, builders, all sorts of crypto enthusiasts. I have actually met the founder of Web3 NZ, and he mentioned that they're working closely with the founders of Easy Crypto, and that they do have a vision to try and decentralize the economy. So that's going to be interesting to see if they can pull that off. Now, also, I know they got NZDD for businesses, so it is another thing that we can do. Pay salaries, better foreign exchange rates. Obviously, that's very good for sending overseas. Receive customer payments. So this is all starting to evolve. As more and more people demand it, it's going to just be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So again, they go through the same kind of advantages, but it's interesting to know that they are targeting businesses, and I think they're going around and selling it to businesses themselves, because obviously the more networks that they create, the more it's going to get used, and the more better it is going to be for them, because I'm sure they must be making I guess it's going to improve the whole ecosystem. It means Easy Crypto will have more business, so I suppose that's why they're doing it. Yeah, so basically there's a bit more information here. But it doesn't want to go there. So basically, basically that's sort of the main information really that they're giving us. And then you can sign up to the newsletter. They've got a bit of resources here and articles, which would be cool to read. Just have a quick look at one of them. So yeah, it gives you a bit of background here. Easy Crypto is a registered financial service provider in New Zealand. It has gone through 2 harsh crypto winters in the past 5 years and is still standing as one of New Zealand's favorite crypto markets, blah, blah, blah. There are people who have had quite unsavory experiences with Easy Crypto. I have to say, Easy Crypto is not someone that I have been very keen to promote, basically because it's so centralized, and I'm sure there's information sharing going on with our banks or the government, or I'd say that's almost certainly happening. I mean, it is happening, I think, with every centralized exchange around the world now. And unfortunately, the dilemma is we've got to kind of almost we've got to use them almost, if we want to get into crypto, they're kind of like a necessary evil almost. That's why I prefer to join up with an exchange offshore. I think that's a better way to go. The trouble is that then the banks can often act as gatekeeper and they prevent the payment. Whereas Easy Crypto, they seem to be more happy to allow the transaction to go through. So it's kind of like, this is a dilemma that we're always grappling with. But I found an exchange called Bybit. It's called Bybit, BYBIT. I made a little transaction the other day and it went straight through. It wasn't any problem. Some of the exchanges now are starting to get more credibility. And I think banks are slowly starting to come around to the fact that this is a reality. Even though I know most of them, they're well aware of the crypto market and they're developing their own crypto stablecoin, or they're preparing for it themselves. Overseas now, banks are even now allowed to hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So it slowly is starting to bleed into the system. So yeah, so we're in this sort of world where they're still trying to block us and pretend that we're just getting into scams, while on the in the back end they're actually they're using the technology, they're developing it, and they're even adopting some of the cryptos, particularly the ISO enabled cryptos. They are slowly getting bled into the system. And eventually, I think ISO standard will replace Swift. So, or certainly it's going to hobble Swift quite a lot, and they're going to have to basically use the ISO themselves for them to stay relevant. So there's going to be a lot of disruption coming soon, and that's why I think we're going to see a fair bit of chaos as very entrenched established businesses and banks are going to have a significant chunk of their business under competition. But I also think that they're going to try and make up for it by adopting the crypto market for their own purposes. Banks will end up being custodians of a lot of people's crypto, and they are going to try and curtail decentralized wallets. I think that's probably at some stage we're going to have to face that. And yeah, so I don't really know what's going to happen there, but we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, I sort of digressed from the article. But yeah, it's probably best if you go and onto the site and have a read of it yourself if you're interested. NZDD.com. Yeah, so I can leave that with you. I'll probably finish up there. We'll just sort of wind up. I usually like open it up to if anyone's got a question before I finish off. If there's anything in that you're not clear on, or I haven't explained well enough, or you're yeah, if you've got a question, feel free to unmute and ask. Otherwise, we'll just call it a day.
Hi, Tony. It's Katie.
Oh, hi, Katie. How are you?
Hi. Great and grateful. Thank you. You refer a lot to the centralized system still having a lot of control. And there's a school of thought out there that we won't be beholden to that in the next short while. I'm not sure how that fits in with your particular group or whether that's another school of thought. But it seems like we're still having to consider constantly the bureaucratic system we've got at the moment, but also realizing or thinking that we're not going to have that. So do you have any comments on that?
We're going to run parallel systems. You know, 94% or so of the population still don't even know about crypto. And I reckon out of them, most of them don't even know what really decentralization means. And certainly people that are not in crypto, I don't think any of them know what decentralization means. So our own ignorance is actually one of our biggest Achilles heels. And so, yeah, of course, there's going to be, of course, the centralized system is under pressure at the moment, but it's not going away. I mean, it's just going to get retooled, but how it's going to look is anyone's guess. The fact is that where two roads have opened up, the way I see it is like there's two roads. There's a centralized road that people can continue to go down. It'll be digitized, centralized, or they can go down the decentralized, more digitized, decentralized route. And that is entirely going to be their choice, which way they go. It's people will choose what's comfortable for them based on their own knowledge.
Well, a lot of the knowledge is naive now at the moment. And I suppose for me, I totally agree with you that there's so many people in New Zealand that aren't able to access the information that makes them consider other options.
That's right. So it comes down to choice. So if they don't know about decentralized crypto, they're clearly going to get the centralized version by default.
Absolutely. So this is in the beginning. I do have more. Well, no, I don't have more. I would like to think that there is more opportunity for the world to get on board with this so that we equalize the financial stage for people and we equalize and redistribute all the money so that other people who miss out on so much in the world end up having the opportunity. And I just see this in my naive way that this is the best way to go. And I guess it would be helpful for us to be educating in a safe way as well, even though I know crypto's completely doesn't form a conversation easily with people. I suppose I think it's a time frame. I think that eventually we'll have more people over in the decentralized space, or I'd like to think like that.
It's going to evolve for many, many years.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's not going to be an instant utopia in crypto just because we're in crypto. And they are going to do their very damnness to try and regulate decentralization. But I know that there's already enough people in decentralized crypto, self-custody, and they're developing like crazy to build people-based decentralized communities and that sort of thing. And I think the horse has bolted quite a long way down the track. So they're going to have to try and rein that horse in when hundreds of millions of people are going to get stuffed. So I think that there will be a parallel economy opening up that we can operate safely in decentralized world. But it will evolve, it will continue to evolve, and there will be mishaps and potholes and people are going to get caught. But new people, as they become aware that this is even possible, to have our own money, our own possession, and earn from it and all that. That's going to be blasted upon them, very. They're going to have a very fast learning curve when the regulations hit and reset happens. I think a lot of us will be then able to educate these people because they're going to be willing to listen then. They're sort
Yeah.
of not so willing to listen right now because crypto to a lot of people is just a scam or a digital trap.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
what can you do? You've got people can they will choose the system that best suits them, depending on what they know.
Yeah.
And good projects will just get stronger and stronger. It will become a self-fulfilling prophecy eventually. And then I think, central control will lose its grip fully over in 10 years' time. We could be a completely different world.
Yeah. I'd like to believe that. Thanks, Tony. That's great. Thank you.
No worries. And also just with Pete's question, what are KYCs and what is staking? KYC means know your customer. That KYC means EID verification, basically. And that is important when a lot of wallet holders or people operating in this space are not people, they're bots. And so we need to prove that we're a human. We are focused on the decentralized identification that's happening. That's really proliferating as well. Why do we need to hand over our personal details to a central body that do not have our best interests at heart? So decentralized ID is going to become a thing, and then we can prove who we are without getting scalped by our info. And staking is, if you think of staking as the digital version of putting your money in a term deposit. The bank says, look, we'll offer you a higher interest rate. You lock your money up for 12 months and we'll give you this extra rate. And then your money's frozen in that time. The same thing can happen with crypto where you can, like I said, there's the liquidity pools. You can submit your money into the pool. It's held in there in what's called a smart contract for X amount of time. You earn a return for basically freezing your funds for the benefit of the project to use those funds for liquidity. Also, it helps to secure the network. It also shows a commitment to the project. So they call it total value locked. If the TVL is hovering around 100 billion at the moment. That means 100 billion, that means around, oh no, I was thinking the percentage, about 100 billion of the total crypto is locked up because people are staking it and earning a passive income from it. But there is still, it's not completely foolproof. It's not completely 100% safe. It's relatively safe, but you've got to do your due diligence. You've got to know who you're staking with and you've got to know what you're doing. But that is something we will go to in depth we've kind of visited it last year, but we're going to keep revisiting it as more people come in.
Yeah, thanks,
Staking is
Tony.
going to be a huge area.
Thanks very much, mate. It's been very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So thanks for coming. You're lovely seeing a new face. So basically stable coins, they are going to become a major feature of our landscape and we're going to have to get used to it. And crypto is just another option to a centralized type of stable coin or CBDC. So we're going to have options here and you'll find that there will be a lot more better options than what we might realize coming, because I know a lot of the big money men, the hedge funds, the rich corporates out there are not enamored with a CBDC. as are neither are the smaller to medium banks either, because central bank money means it's not a regional bank money. So this is why the banks are going to fight back, and why I think people will fight back against that centralization by continuing to develop projects on the blockchain, which are going to run away eventually from total centralized dominance. So we're in for a heck of a fight, though. It's not going to be smooth. This is what the reset is, I think, signaling. The reset is like when the flag drops, because the powers that be realize they might not be power very much longer, because they're losing control of their dollar, they're losing control of various resources, and hence there needs to be a reset, and a new boss, if you like, are coming in to this world. New geopolitical powers that weren't particularly powerful before, like ACA, Russia, and the BRICS nations, are going to start dominating or sharing the financial system control with the US and Europe. So yeah, so we're just on the threshold of that tipping point being reached. So stay grounded, and thanks for coming. Appreciate your time. We'll talk again soon. Cheers.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks.